What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders Awakened. We are just one day away from the next update for DDA, and that means Endless Mode is coming. So as you all know, I've been kind of going through and theory crafting some of the first builds to unlock those golden pets that I kind of want to try out. Now, all these builds, of course, are just initial concepts or ideas. We don't know exactly what the scaling is going to be like, and we don't know what the final changes are to the defenses quite yet. So these will all be subject to change. But right now, we are going to go ahead and take a run through Act number 4, and let's get started in the mill. Now, this map offers just a ton of freedom on what to do, as there is just a mad amount of DU. Now, although it is a super large map, if you look at the mini-map or the TAC map, the cores are super close together. So with that in mind, if you wanted to, you could go with just one big DST stack, one big Wisp stack, lots of good ideas that you could slap down right here in the middle of the map. Now, through these Act 4 maps, I will plan on killing the portals. However, I am going to set it up so if I'm late to a portal or if I miss a portal, it's not going to be the end of the world. In addition, we are going to be using some walls on this one as well. So let's go ahead and get things started right here on this lane. So we want to go ahead and start off with a spike blockade. Then we're going to go ahead and do our usual aura stacks. So we're going to go with an ensnare aura, an electric aura, and we're going to go ahead and throw in an enrage aura. Now, in addition to this, we are going to trap it up. So we want to go ahead and get an explosive trap in, and then a gas trap a little further behind. In fact, you know what? Let me move that explosive trap back. I managed to sell literally all of the auras here. Let's go ahead and just slap those back down. I know that one's not fusion, but you all get the picture. Now, I'm going to come on back here to the traps, and I'm going to get that explosive trap where that I'm going to easily be able to throw a buff beam on it and cover the wall. Now, with that in mind, I want the gas trap a little farther back. Now, we are letting enemies get a little bit uncomfortably close here, so I definitely want to throw in a reflect beam to protect that core and this particular wall. We're going to round this entire side out right here with a buff beam. And you know what? Do we want to... Let's actually wait and put that down here after we get the rest of the build down. Now, here in these lanes, we're going to go ahead and split the core. So we're going to go with an ensnare aura, an electric aura, and then that enrage aura. And we're going to come over here and do the exact same thing. So we're going to go ahead and go with a electric aura, the ensnare, and then, of course, our enrage. Now, we're setting this up, of course, so we can share one buff beam. So when it comes to our traps, we are going to want to do just that. So let's go ahead and go with explosive trap right about there. We'll go with a gas trap right here. Then let's go ahead and do the same thing. Explosive trap. And you know what? I think actually on this lane, we can probably get away with just one gas trap. Just right in the middle. So we could do something like that right there to cover those up. Now, once again, we got the ogreliciousness. So we want to get a wall down just far enough away where the core is not going to take any cleave damage if there is an ogre smashing on it. And then we're going to protect those walls up with some reflect beams. So let's go with a reflect beam right about like that. And a reflect beam, say, like that. Now, we're going to try to position this reflect beam so it is protecting the core as well. Now, to finish it all off, we're going to go ahead and drop our buff beam down. We just got to make sure we hit both of those traps. We got them. We got both our stacks, both trap stacks. All the good stuff is squared away. Now, coming on over to this far side, we're going to do the exact same thing here. Let's go with ensnare aura, an electric aura, and an enrage aura. We're going to slap a wall down right at the edge of these auras right here. And then we're going to position our gas traps and explosive traps off of that. So let's go with an explosive trap, a gas trap a little bit farther back, and then we will get that one hooked up with a buff beam. Now, we got everything buffed now except that far lane. I'm going to head over there and get it right now. We've got all of our walls except these two walls protected with a buff beam as well. So we are looking pretty darn stout, but look at all the DU we got left. We got 51 DU left to work with. Now, instinctively, I would want to put like a DST stack or a Wisp stack right here in the middle of the map. However, there is one thing about this map, is it does offer some super cheeky placements. So say you want to get these enemies killed out this way a little bit quicker, you can come down right to the edge of the bridge down below, and you can place your goodies down here. Now, of course, down here, no Ogre Snotball is going to make it to it. No issue whatsoever. Let's take a look around and see some of the other cheeky placements. Well, you know, say you're going to want some wisps right here in the center of the map. Well, you can come all the way back into the terrain over here and get yourself down a route, and then, of course, that's going to allow you to throw the wisps right in as well. Once again, you got complete protection. There is no ogre that can throw at it. It's blocked from all angles, so it gives you a nice little cheeky spot where you could sneak some wisps in if you wanted to. Now, additionally, you can come around, say, over here. Well, you know, you can't jump over there, but you can build over there. So, you know, if you wanted to throw your wisp stacks over there, you can do that as well. So, lots of cheeky placement opportunities. We got one right over here as well. You know, say you want to get some wisp damage on these guys up at the start or at the front of the lane. Well, you know, you can throw wisps in right over there, and then the wisps are going to be hitting these ogres and all the enemies right at spawn. So lots of options on what to do with wisps there. If you do want to go with like a DST stack, I would probably suggest stacking them in the middle of the map right here. Plus you get a free wall right here that you wouldn't need to reflect. You would only need to reflect the areas where an ogre could toss to you. Or, you know, you could just do a one big old whopping wisp stack right here and get it protected pretty easily. So once again, the benefit here is, although the map is absolutely ginormous, the cores are super close together. So you got lots of coverage availability just with one DST or Wisp stack right here in the center of the map. Now moving on over to the Outpost. The Outpost is another big map, and it doesn't have those conveniences of having those cores right on top of each other. So you're really going to have to do two different setups. I think, you know, as far as like a gear check, the Keep obviously would be the hardest map to get to Wave 100. As far as just running the map, I feel like this one might be. I think the best way to do it might be to do like a strong side, weak side kind of setup. And what would we do right here? Well, we know we got enemies that are going to come up across this area. So I think we would want to go ahead and split aura stacks, just like we did on the last map, right here on one buff beam. So if we did an aura stack just like that, we could throw another aura stack in just like this. Now, the way these lanes are, it would give you a little wonky placement as far as getting your walls covered. So you could quite easily get a buff beam right here to cover it all, but of course you're going to want to make sure your walls are squared away. Additionally, you can get traps in pretty darn easily and be able to get double coverage on one buff beam, something like that, and maybe split a gas trap in the middle. However, then of course you're not going to be able to get any coverage on your walls, so you are going to want to keep an eye on any walls that you throw over here. It looks like I missed that in Snare. Obviously you'd want to get that in there as well. Now, this map's going to be tricky, so we are going to use walls. We're going to throw a wall down just outside of cleave range. We're going to throw another wall down right outside of cleave range, and then we're going to throw down some reflect beams. So let's go ahead and get this side protected. we will get this side protected, and it's pretty darn debatable if you might want to do something over here. The reason being is there is quite possibly an ogre would maybe take the chance and throw across over to this core. Let's go over and check out this other side. Now, this other side, basically, you could do the exact same thing. So if we wanted to do that, we would go with, you know, we would split the core again, and we would go with, like, our aura stacks starting, say, like right about here. Get that rage in as well. Then we would want to go ahead and push this one out as far as we can this way. I usually size everything off my electric aura since it is slightly larger. And we'll get an enrage aura there. And then we would want to do the same thing as far as traps go. Now, on this particular map, you kind of got to make the decision. Would you rather spend an extra 3 DU and get both of your walls covered? Or would you rather use less DU and have your traps covered as far as buff beams go? So, doing a setup like this, of course, you could throw one buff beam to cover all these traps and auras. Something along those lines right there. Looks like I missed that electric aura, so you'd want to sneak that over just a trickle. Let's just go ahead and do it here. We got to get it right inside of that trap, though. So let's go like, say, that. And that should get them both. Actually, it still missed that electric aura. So I would have to move that trap back just a touch. Now, we've got more wall opportunities, and walls are definitely something you're going to want to take a look at here. We could go with a wall, say, like right there. We could get another wall, say, like right here. Now, we're going to want to give these walls a little bit of coverage. So here, I think, to be honest with you, the best way would be able to just go with 2 reflect beams right there. That way you don't have to sweat it, and it gives you core coverage over here. On this side, you would want to position your reflect beam so that it's covering the wall and the core, as there will be enemies taking pot shots over there, and you want to get both of those covered. Now, here, once again, it leaves you 54 DU. So what do? There's no real happy medium on this map. So if you were to split it and you would use, what, 27 DU per side, you could go something like maybe this. Say we threw a roots right there, and then we throw, what, 4 wisps, 5 wisps. That would give us more than enough. We'd actually have a couple of leftover DU if we went with 5 wisps, like right there. That would give us 30 DU for the other side. And then once we come over here, we would want to place them somewhere a little bit more convenient to all of these spawns. I think really up here would probably be the best spot, like kind of tucked in right up in here. You'd be able to get a little bit of protection for that root and still be able to get real good coverage with some wisps. So you could throw down, say, 6 wisps over on this side, and that would leave you plenty for a buff beam and then 2 reflects. So you'd be able to get everything good and protected there in a spot where you don't really have to worry about Dark Elf Warriors too much. And I think that would be a solid start. Now, I believe all these Act 4 maps will probably take a little trial and error. I don't think anyone's going to go through and one-shot them to level 100 on the very first try. I do think some of the maps will be that way, but I don't think any of these Act 4 maps will do it. But I think that is a pretty good start of what you would want to do on this particular map. And then, of course, we have got the Keep. Now, the Keep will, without question, be the hardest map to get to level 100. Shy of any weird scaling issues on bonus waves on the other maps, I think this one will be the one. And I actually played this map quite a bit on Endless Mode in the PTR, so I got a build I'm pretty darn happy with. I've been starting off with an Ensnare Aura and a Reflect Beam. We're going to go ahead and drop in that Enrage Aura as well. And here we've got a little bit of an opportunity to tuck our wisps up inside where we don't have to sweat them too much. So something like right about there is a great spot for a gas trap. You could throw an explosive trap out here if you want, but on this map, I'm going to try to get more single target heavy hitting damage down, so more wisps, more DSTs, whatever route you decided to take. However, this is very similar to the build I was using on the PTR. Now, on the PTR, I only went to like wave 60, I want to say it was, so I didn't use the Enrage Rs at all. So you could then throw 6 wisps right over here. That would allow you to get a buff beam on them. You can get a reflect beam in front of that. And this map for sure is one that you're just going to want to throw some walls down. Don't sweat the walls too much, y'all. If they get destroyed, just replace them. That's what they're there for. They are completely disposable. So something like this is what I did on the PTR on Endless Mode. This map, of course, has got a lot of options for sludge launchers, for beams, DSTs, of course, and just really the sky's the limit, really, on lots of different options. We're going to do the exact same thing over here. So we're going to go with an electric aura. We're going to get that gas, or the ensnare aura, pardon me, down. We'll drop and enrage aura, and then we want to throw down a gas trap. The auras on this one, you just want to make sure they're dipping up onto this section so you can buff them. We're not going to be buffing a gas trap at all right there. However, we all know about this short lane on the keep. If an ogre spawns here, there's a lot of times where it has or will end your run. So get a little bit of protection in right there. I'm going to throw a spike blockade down just outside of cleave range. Now, additionally, we're going to want to protect this spike blockade. So I'm going to throw a reflect beam like that. That's also giving us a little bit of core protection. And then we're going to throw another one over this way. Or, you know, actually, it might not be a terrible idea to throw another spike blockade right here. Now, I didn't do this on the PTR. However, I think that is a pretty darn good choice. Throwing another spike blockade down right there. And that, of course, gives you another opportunity for a reflect beam. Now, we still got 79 DU left. So, I mean, just a truckload of DU on this map. You can very easily protect your wisps right up here on this ledge. We're going to do the same thing as we did on the other side, and we're going to drop 6 of them down. And then let's buff it up. And let's give those guys a reflect beam just for a little bit of safety. Now, heading back onto the inside. Now, this particular map, I without a doubt will be killing rift portals. I think it won't be long, and people will have some runs set up here that don't require you to kill the rift portals, and that will be quite nice. However, for day one and just getting started, I personally am going to go with something like this. So I'm going to get that ensnare and the electric aura down. We're still going to get that enrage aura in. On this lane right here, we are going to use a wall. So let's go ahead and throw a spike blockade down right there. And then, of course, we're going to want to give it a little bit of protection. So let's get a reflect beam in. And then let's get a reflect beam in over on this side as well, because there will be enemies that leak through and come down the path over here. Even though we do have those enrages in the R's up there, there still will be some leaks here, no doubt. And then, of course, we want to get our gas in. So let's go with a gas trap right there. Let's throw another gas trap right here in the front. And it's pretty debatable whether or not you throw down even another wall right here. However, I am just going to go with a reflect beam on that one. And then we're going to spend the remainder of the DU right up top here. Now, this is the area where I would spend most of my time. The auras actually get all the way up here, so you don't have to worry too much about those. Additionally, we're only going to be able to fit 5 wisps here. Now, if it ends up where we don't need the enrage auras down there, I would just add directly to the wisps. This is also a great stacking point for DSTs if you chose to use those. However, for a wisp build, I would want to do something like that. Now, that does leave 2 DU left, and I feel like the smartest option for that is going to be just to throw a spike blockade right there, and then we could even drop one more reflect beam directly in front of it just for some additional protection. Now, like I said, particularly on these App 4 maps, this is definitely all work in progress stuff. However, I think this would be a really solid starting point for getting through to Wave 100 on Endless Mode and unlocking those pets. So that will do it for now. Thank you all so much for watching. We are less than a day away right now, or actually we're right about at a day away right now as of the publishing of this video, and I am really looking forward to this update. So thank you all once again, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.